Welcome to the Home Inspector Marketing Podcast. Because you're a home inspector looking to increase your sales, improve your cash flow, and boost your bottom line, you are in the right place. For additional training resources on how you can grow your home inspection business, go to microreturns.com right now. And now, here's the podcast.
Hi, this is Mike Crow, and I run a home inspection business. In fact, I've run a couple of home inspection businesses. The true joy for me, though, has been helping literally thousands of home inspectors build really solid home inspection businesses as well. We can help a single-man operation be able to do over $300,000 a year, maybe all the way up to $400,000 a year as a single inspector operation. Even better for me is the 80-plus companies that we have helped be able to build million-dollar home inspection businesses. I would like to help you be able to do the same thing.
We recently had an online event for our members, and Mike shared some big insights. So we're sharing them on today's episode. If you want to be one of the people on the call next time, head to microreturns.com to learn more.
So here's the thought today, real quick. Beware the future, all right? And I've talked about this in the past in a lot of ways, and then, of course, I say beware the 95%. And the big thing I want to try to make sure that I'm telling you is be ready for change. I just came back from this big meeting, which probably had 100-plus inspectors at. By the way, it's always funny to me. You know, people are going, oh, yeah, we have 450 people here. And I look around and I'm going, where? Do you hide them in the closet? You know, it just blows my mind, right? And part of what I know is that they're counting all the vendors, they're counting all the spouses, they're counting all the children, they're counting everybody that registered, whether they showed up or not. And by the way, do you know what I had lunch with one of our members? Not lunch, I had breakfast. He wanted to do lunch or dinner, and I couldn't do that because I had other appointments. And he reached out and he said, hey, Mike, I see you're in town. And I was in Vegas, and he went, he said, any chance we could do dinner? And I looked at the schedule and went, man, I can't do dinner. I said, however, this one particular morning I could do breakfast. And it was like one of the first days. And he went, yeah, let's do it. And so we had a great time. We talked about things. And I said, so are you at the conference? And he went, no. And I said, why are you not at the conference? I mean, it's like right here in your hometown. He goes, because they wanted $1,000 to attend this home inspector event, okay, where you would get continuing education hours, which, by the way, are available for free online, okay, nowadays. And so I don't blame him. And so anyway, I know they had probably a couple hundred people there, but I never saw a couple hundred people at one point, unless you counted all the vendors, and they did a very good job with that. Here's the thing is, the world is changing. I was in Vegas, right? And I was there for the conference, and I said hi to a bunch of people that I know and love and care about. I was supposed to fly out Tuesday. And they said, hey, weather alert, would you like to fly out earlier or at a different time? And I went, yes, fly me out earlier. Go ahead, get me home earlier, right? So I called them, and sure enough, they adjusted my flight, no charge. So I got to the airport, turns out that the weather in Dallas was not doing very well. So DFW Airport was like canceling flights and doing things. And I sat, now I'm very blessed. I'm sitting in the American Express Lounge. I think they call it the Centurion, okay? The American Express Lounge. And I think they call it the Centurion. And by the way, there's a waiting line to get into that place. And so that mind boggled me. So I'm sitting there. And I'm watching, and there's another guy over there, and I'm watching my flight be delayed 15 minutes and then be delayed 15 minutes and then be delayed 15 minutes. And that happened about, 6 times. And then the guy across from me goes, well, I'm not getting out of here today. I said, well, where are you flying to? He went, Dallas. And I said, what time was your flight? He said, 9 a.m. this morning. And I said, you've been sitting here since 9 a.m. this morning? He went, yeah. And I looked at it, and I looked up the weather, and I said, so the weather's bad today. And on Wednesday, the weather was worse, okay? And I'm going, okay. So I called the airline, couldn't reach anybody, and I went online, and I adjusted my flight, not to fly out Wednesday, but to fly out Thursday. And then I left the airport, and I went back and went into the hotel and everything. Here's the big thing I want to make sure that you hear and see. You got to be strong, all right? So when I went and I couldn't get off. I said, okay, readjusted my flights. I'm going to fly out Thursday. By then, everything should be, kind of good and fixed up and everything. And so I adjusted. And I went to this place. Hey, Jesse, do you have that picture of the flyover place? If you do, I'd love to throw that up for a second. I went to this place, and, sometimes you just got to have a little fun. You just got to work your way through some things. And I went to this place called Flyover. Now, here's the cool thing was, while I was at the hotel, I looked at my phone, and it said I had a Facebook notification, and it popped up this ad called for Flyover. And Flyover is kind of like what they do in Walt Disney World with soaring, right? It's a hang glider effect, and you sit there and they fly you over. Oh, there it is. There's my picture, okay? So they fly you over all of this different areas and everything, and so they took my picture ahead of time, and I said, that picture is boring. I said, give me a better picture, okay? And of course, they just, they put the picture of Vegas behind, or they can put a picture of other things behind it as well. But while I went through this, there were 3 different shows. Each show was like 25 minutes long. And one of the first shows was about the Canadian Rockies, and it was about the indigenous people there, Indians. And I heard him say something. And I want you to know, as soon as they said it, I went, oh, my goodness. I need to remember that. I need to share that with people. It's amazing how the good Lord just gives me a message at the right time to be able to share with other people. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into our main event, and then just to have a message from either my preacher or from someone else, or a podcast, or in this case it was Flyover, and the message was most people pray for things, right? Most people pray for things, all right? Strong people pray for the strength to do things. So here's the way I reworded that. If we can pop the PowerPoint back up, all right? The 95% pray for things. You're going to find that most people pray for things. And by the way, when I was young, I prayed for things too, okay? Now, here's what I want you to understand. The 1% pray for the strength to do things. The 1% pray for the strength to do things. That's the difference, guys, between you, all right, and the rest of the world. And I'm going to tell you, in Vegas, we see it all the time, okay? Where I was, they're praying for this, they're praying for that, they're praying for this, they're praying for that, okay? And I'm praying for the strength to be able to do amazing and wonderful things that will help people help themselves, all right? So it's kind of a big thing. So here's one of those things that I want you to think of, okay? Maybe you had your best year ever, or maybe you didn't. And by the way, recently, Davey and I talked with one of our members, and he was doing so great. When he started with us, he was doing so great. He did everything I asked, And then he got ahead of me, and he didn't ask, okay? And that's okay. I don't really mind. But then he did things differently than what we would have taught him to do. All right? He did it differently than what we would have taught him to do. Oh, that will be very helpful. Thank you so much, Jesse. He's turning on my monitor back here so I can see it, because I can see the screen just a little bit, but not totally well yet. And so we'll have that here in a second. So did you have your best year ever? And what I want you to understand, especially in the last 3 years, is the world is handing you excuses. The world is handing you excuses. And we see it all the time. And you want to make sure that you don't latch onto those. Oh, the pandemic, right? Oh, man. Well, that was fun. But it was like the biggest excuse that I've heard from people. And by the way, we had our best year ever during the pandemic year. Now, we readjusted our Big Bang marketing, so we pushed it all online. So that was kind of a cool thing. And then I'm still hearing this today. I got a phone call from one of our members yesterday, and he's going, Mike, it's a seller's market. Agents aren't adding inspections to the thing. And by the way, here's a misleading number that you're being told all the time. Oh, we have less property in inventory than we've had in ages. Now, here's what I want you to know. That's a faux number, all right? That's a bogus number. That's a number that doesn't really matter as much as they want you to think it does, because the number that really matters is how many homes were sold, not how many homes are in inventory. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's a ton of houses in inventory, that's an important number. But if there's not a lot of homes in inventory, may or may not be a big thing for you. So our seller's market, by the way, been there, done that 3 times, and we're just coming out of one here, and we readjusted our marketing to try to do that. So here's another thing that people tell you is that less people are for the home inspectors, less people are in the real estate offices. Okay. Now here's the trick of that. That's true. That's true. However, it isn't true as much as they want you to believe it. Okay. So are there less agents in the office? Yeah, there are. But here's the big thing is agents still go to the office. See, here's the real secret. I was marketing in the 80s, and I used to walk into the offices and I go, man, nobody's here. I was marketing in the 90s. I'd go, man, nobody's here. Guess what? The good agents don't sit in the office. I mean, do they, Angela? The good agents don't sit in the office. They're making phone calls. They're out visiting people. They're out showing homes. They're not sitting at the real estate office waiting for you to show up. But they do come to the office and pick up their mail. They do come to the office and go to the meetings. And that's the big thing. But what you have to understand is the world wants to hand you excuses. Oh, there's less agents in the office. I shouldn't visit offices anymore. Oh, there's less houses in inventory. So, sales must be down. Those are not correlated, okay? In fact, think about it. If there's less homes in inventory, maybe sales are up, not down, okay? And so it's just that they're not even hitting inventory. They're selling so fast and doing some things there. And then, of course, more online activity, i.e., look at us. We're on a Zoom call here, all of us, okay? And so it's kind of a weird thing, and so that we have that as well. But one of the things we did during the pandemic, and here's the cool thing is, we're now going back to our big bang marketing where we do walk in and out of real estate offices, but we're also still doing the Facebook Live and all of the online marketing that we have been doing and everything. So it's kind of a cool thing. So did you embrace the excuses or did you move forward? And I'm going to encourage you. You see, here's what you need to know. The 95% want to hand you excuses. I heard so many stinking excuses the last 4 weeks. Last 4 days, okay, while I was in Vegas. Oh, it was the pandemic. Oh, it's a seller's market. Oh, there's homes but you know what I heard? Oh, by the way, every show I go to, this happens. And I always wonder if it will happen. But Stan, do you remember Paul and Jeannie? He pulled me aside and he said, hey, Mike, I just wanted you to know that we hit the $1 million mark last year. And I just want to tell you thank you. Think about that. When everybody else is out there talking about how bad it is, how this, how that, everything else is out there, okay? He started with us a number of years ago, and Paul is a very, very, dot the I, cross the T type person, okay? But they hit the $1 million mark last year when everybody else was whining and complaining about how bad the market was. Don't buy into that crap, okay? I want you to understand the 95% are always going to out there try to hand you excuses.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast. And as a friendly reminder, if you're looking to increase your sales, improve your cash flow, and boost your bottom line as a home inspector, go to microreturns.com right now.